Well, we're not ready to be running yet, but I thought I'd show you the progress to this point, what's planned for the rest of it, and we can initially start it running. Now, I don't have the wiring done. All I've got is the plug on the motor itself, so I don't have switch wired up. And I got to do the tensioner for the belt yet. And what I ended up and did is I mounted the motor on this side of the plate like it is now. I'd originally had it mounted on this side. It won't fold over now with this. I didn't like the way that set quite well. I think this is a little bit cleaner. Plus I can just run a tensioner across here. What I'm going to do is drill a hole in through here and have a little pivot arm out here, and I've just got a length of ready rod with a bolt. We'll weld a tab on here to do it, run this through and use that for our tension adjustment and then we'll cut off this extra. I originally also had the motor mounted clear out here on the end. That's way too far out, which I knew it might be, but we've got the new gear in the gearbox. It's running really well. I've only run it just for a minute here, but when I reassembled it and put it together, well, I was really happy with it. Hopefully that camera, let me bring it up just a little bit, I think. Well, maybe we've got a view of the wheel inside the tub. But anyway, let's go ahead and see if I can't get it running for you and get out of the way so we can run for just a few seconds. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go ahead and I'll build the tensioners for it, and then I'm going to pretty much completely disassemble it again. I doubt that I'm going to disassemble the gearbox itself, but everything else I'm going to strip out of there, center columns and everything. Make sure I've got everything greased up there. I've got welding to do around the plates down here on the bottom for the feet. We just added some plate down on the bottom, and I'm going to weld them solid. Got it mounted on the skids. That's going to work real well. Probably on the front of the skids I'll just install a couple of eye bolts of some sort, just so that I can grab onto it and drag it if I need to. I'm going to drill 3 holes as I talked about before. Probably one here and one up front, and then the third one out here on this end, because most of the weight's sitting down here on this end. So we'll drill some lifting holes there so that we can at least lift it. I wanted to make it where I could run a pallet jack underneath it and raise it up and move it around. Right now I think I'm not going to worry about that. Down the road, when I've got it in a different shop or a new location, why I may see about doing something like that. But for now, to get it running, why that's going to be the way it is. So anyway, this is a progress. I'm really happy with it. I think the speed's running about right. I haven't really checked to see how fast it's running, and I'm not going to. I know we've got a setup that will work, so I'll get it finished out, and then if we need to go back and change the speed a little bit, we'll see just what rotation we've got. I think I'd like to have about, I think it's 30 or 40 revolutions a minute is about what is recommended for them, but we'll get it together, run it, and see how fast it's going and what we're doing. I do still have to install the dump chute that comes off of the bottom of the door. And this is what I've come up with for it, and this is the wrong side. Well, not on the other side, obviously, but it's going to mount up underneath there like that. And it's just about the right height, just above a 5-gallon bucket, so I can run a 5-gallon bucket underneath there. Ideally, I would have liked to have been able to run my wheelbarrow up underneath there, but you can't run the wheelbarrow in farther, far enough underneath anyway, and it would have to be quite a bit higher. So I may do some sort of a custom little bucket or something like that at some point in time, but for right now we're going to get it running. I'll over the weekend, probably later today and in the morning, while I get it disassembled, and we'll finish welding it up, all the little pieces that I got tacked in place, and make a few little changes, fit this down, and then after I get that done, we can go ahead and finish the wiring out the way it's supposed to be through the switch, and we'll have a hopefully fully completed and functional Muller. So looks pretty good so far. I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, well, here it is in all its glory, and just going to give you a little quickie here tonight. Just now I had it running. I had it running before I wired the switch and everything in it. I got my exhaust chute, or my dump chute, welded in place. We've got it all painted up. Everything's basically done. I'll make little changes as time goes along. But, and I've already run it once. I added my 3 lift holes around the edges. I'll take you around to the other side and show you the motor mount setup. But I thought I would run it for you here a little bit. Got a cord hanger on the back, and you know, I can continue to spend time on it, but now it is functional. Now I'll take you back and we'll show you the motor mount first. And here's our motor setup. Actually, I'm pretty happy with it. I still have to build guards to come out over the motor, and eventually there'll be probably a piece of diamond plate over the gearbox, just so I've got a little bench there to set stuff on more than anything else. Got my adjustment with ready rod out there. Everything actually looks really good. So that's really nice, and I am really happy with it. When I initially set up the motor switch when I was wiring it a little bit ago, and this is just a used switch that I had. I've had 2 or 3 of these kicking around, and I grabbed one. Of course, they've been laying around for years, and the labels were gone off of it, so I didn't know what the heaters were set up in them for. I set the first one up, and it started the motor. It had run for a few seconds, and then it kicked it off. So I had another one, so we swapped them out. It looked like the heaters were quite a bit heavier in it, and it seems to be doing fine. Now, I've run this once initially, and if we step back and look at it from back here again, I am extremely happy with this from running it the first, for just now running it with sand in it for the first time. I was asked how much sand I could mull with it, and I said I had expectations with it, and they were pretty high expectations. What I found is, when I initially set this up, or was starting to set up the drum, I think I cut about 3 inches off the top of the drum itself. I may go back and put that piece on if I've got it kicking around here yet, because the limiting factor to how much sand this will take, within reason anyway, is I can put a full 5-gallon bucket in and then one of these smaller square buckets, and it handles it fine. It doesn't even slow down, but what it does do is push sand out over the top. So that's the only limiting factor. So let me go ahead and fire this up. I'll dump some sand in here. I'm not going to add water to it tonight to actually temper it, but yeah, so we can see it running anyway. that doesn't tell you anything, but nonetheless, that's nice. I like that. So I'm pretty much going to call this one. I am extremely happy. Now I'll be dinking around with this as time goes on. I need to do cable management yet. I've got things zip tied in place right now. We've got to build a guard over the motor and that belt, both to keep the dog from running into it, which I don't think he will. He stays away from me pretty much when I'm making a lot of noise and doing stuff that disturbs him. But I need to have that there both to make it a little bit safer and also to catch any sand that does get kicked out over the top if I get overzealous with how much I'm dumping in there. So otherwise, we're going to pretty much call this. I am extremely happy with it. I'll make little changes as time goes on. You know, I'll be swapping out some bolts for the different lengths that are a little bit proper length and just changing out some stuff like that. Putting some washers on where I didn't have half-inch washers to go on a couple of places and things like that. But otherwise, this is ready to use, and I am extremely happy. So anyway, hopefully you guys find this a little bit interesting. Comments, suggestions, leave them in the comments section for me below. You're going to see this running quite a bit more here in the future. And as always, thanks for taking the time to watch.